Hi there, it's Angus Pike, President of the Victorian branch of the Chiropractors Association, and I want to take a moment first of all just to thank you for joining me here. There's no doubt that we practice in very, very interesting times at the moment. We're in the midst, as I record this, of going through some drastic changes with our National Registration Board, and I know that's brought up a tremendous amount of uncertainty in chiropractors literally right across Australia. And whilst there are changes going on inside our profession, and he's there, then there are also changes going on around the world in healthcare. And many of the experts are suggesting that we're literally on the eve of one of the greatest healthcare crises that we've literally ever witnessed. At the same time, whilst this is going on, is that there are doors opening, and doors opening that have never been opened before, because people are looking for more natural ways to go about their healthcare. They're looking for ways for their body to be able to heal itself from the inside out. And in droves, they're moving away from a medicated outside-in approach. And as these opportunities open, then I think there is a small window that if chiropractic literally jumps through it, then we can step into a level of greatness that I think this profession has never experienced. And whilst in the past the chiropractors before us have been able to achieve literally wonderful things, many of the things that you and I take for granted nowadays, the very fact that we can go into our practice and look after our people without fear of being thrown in jail, the fact that we can write a health certificate, the fact that we can get reimbursed by most private health insurance, all those things that we take for granted. But if we're to step into true leadership, if we're to step into real greatness and become leaders in this new healthcare field, then I think there's going to have to be a whole bunch of areas where we literally upskill ourselves. And that's really what I want to talk to you about. As an executive, the chiropractic, the Victorian branch, then we exist really to serve you. And we realise that one of the things that we need to do as a profession is come together and better define how is it exactly that chiropractic will be practiced and exist into the future. And it's a powerful and very, very important conversation. And we've brought together a format for that conversation to happen later on in the year. In fact, August 28th and August 29th. We've put together a seminar that's really about inspiring change. The title of it is Creating Leaders in a New Healthcare System. And as a part of that, I believe that there are 5 conversations and 5 important areas that we need to have that conversation around. And so first up for the day, we're going to dive into that question of philosophy. And we need to ask her that ever so important question of what role does philosophy have in chiropractic in the future? And philosophy is a word that often scares and polarises many of the profession. But really what we'll be talking about is what role do things like vitalism and holism, what role will they play in us in the future? And how will we use things like vitalism and holism to guide not only our practice, but our research and our conversations? And that'll be delivered by one of the greatest thinkers that we have here in Australia, a good friend of mine and a tremendous worker for chiropractic, and that's Dr. Tony Croak. And Tony's going to give us the nuts and bolts of how we implement philosophy into our practice tomorrow. How do we take it on Monday and begin to be able to have more inspiring and more powerful conversations with our clients? And we also need to have an important conversation around science. And I'm glad to say that I've got Dr. Martin Harvey, who's the president of the ASRF and was recently voted International Chiropractor of the Year, who's going to be unwinding some of those models of subluxation. He's going to be talking about how is it that we need to integrate science into our practice and what do we need our scientists looking at? Because if we don't have science to support what's going on, then we can't truly step into being healthcare leaders. He's also going to have a wonderful conversation about cutting-edge models of subluxation. We also need to have that conversation around lifestyle and wellness. Now, wellness is a word that chiropractors have been using for a long time. And one of the leaders and the up-and-coming leaders in this area is Dr. Damien Christoph. And Damien, not only is he a naturopath as well as being a chiropractor, but he has run literally hit television shows. He understands the world of wellness and communicating it better than any. And what Damien is going to share with us is key strategies and things that we need to be communicating with our clients, with our practice members, with our community and other health practitioners for that matter, for us truly to step into being healthcare leaders. And I think it's important that we have a conversation around paediatrics. And no doubt that around the world, and certainly here in Australia, one of the leaders in that field is Dr. Genevieve Keating. And not only is she an expert in children, but she's literally an expert in the brain and nervous system. And she has an understanding of the impact that you and I can have as chiropractors, literally like no other. And Jen is going to bring us the nuts and bolts of what we need to take into our practice on Monday so we can communicate really simply with the children that we're looking after and with the parents of the children. And so we can start to communicate the value that we deliver to the parents so they can understand the role that chiropractic plays in growth and development and learning and social development, all those things. And of course, importantly, we need to have a powerful conversation around communication and marketing for that matter, because we need to get better at sharing the magnificence that is chiropractic. And so I have Dr. Chen Tai, who in the world of communication and new marketing has some very, very exciting stuff to share with. In fact, the tips and strategies that Chen will share with us will be worth the day in itself, because he'll be giving you the nuts and bolts changes that you can take into your practice on Monday so you can begin to reach more of your community. And finally, that's our Saturday, and you can expect at the end of that Saturday to have somewhere between 15 and 25 action steps, the most important action steps for you to take to your practice on Monday. So you can begin to step into leadership from there too. The day will finish with a forum where each of the speakers will be up on stage and you'll have a chance to communicate to them. We'll have a chance to come together as a group for us to mould a future for us to step into. And then back again on Sunday morning, what I'm most excited about is that we've been able to get a hold of one of the great leaders in communication and mindset. Because after we've been given the tools on the Saturday, it's about being able to put those tools into play. And many times in the past, and I know certainly for me, I've been given the tools, but sometimes we fail to put them into play. And all that's about mindset. And I'm going to keep a secret who it is, but what I know is that if you wanted to spend an hour with this gentleman, then it would cost you literally $6,000 an hour to spend time with him. And we have him for 3 hours in the morning there. And his talk has been tailored. I've already begun speaking with him. Is exactly what do we need to do as a profession to really step into leadership. So I hope you're getting the theme. This weekend is literally all about leadership. And so what I want to take an opportunity to do now is invite you along to this conference, all about inspiring change and all about inspiring leadership. And I also want you encouraged to join up soon, because for those of you, just below this video will be a link for you to register for the seminar. And in the early bird, and you'll see the date on there, then along with that too, what you'll be getting is a downloadable version of all the audio and all the video, so you can keep this. I am absolutely certain that the information that happens on this weekend is going to be cutting edge and is going to help not only grow you and your practice, in your community, but is going to be what's necessary for us to move chiropractic into leadership in the next 20 years. And so in the coming weeks, I'm going to be posting interviews with each and every one of the speakers, and they'll start to unwind some of what you can look forward to their speeches. And so the weekend is the 28th and the 29th of August. The seminar is at a beautiful venue in Docklands. You're going to just love where it is. So keep that weekend free. The registration form you'll see just below. I'd love to have your comments also, so there's room for comments below the video from here as well about what further things you'd like us to talk about that day. So what information can I get to the speakers so that we can share with them as well. So again, this has been Dr. Angus Pike here, President of the Victorian branch of the Chiropractors Association as well, and I look forward to seeing you soon.